Hello there, my name is Retro. I used to review cartoon series, anime series, or something completely random, and today we do a segment I like to call Forgottn Cartoons. And Forgottn Cartoon segment only focus on cartoons only lasted 1 to 2 seasons and then got cancelled, maybe 3, so it depends how popular it really was and how quickly it got forgotten. And this series I think is a part of those more special one because it was sort of forgotten, then it became sort of a cult classic. And this cartoon called Making Friends, created by Amy Winfrey, this series lasted only one season, a total of 18 episodes. Of course, if you look at Google, supposed to be 2 seasons. I really don't know why it says 2 seasons, supposedly it's just 1. Depends where you go, the information is kind of weird. But besides that, this series had a very troubling making of the series because when Nickelodeon bought the series from Amy, they really was sort of weird about it. That when they bought it, they barely started to make this series and decided to cancel it automatically. Now you have that question, why did this cancel? Be honestly, nobody really has the answer. Even Amy, who sold the series to Nickelodeon, still doesn't know even to this day. But when they bought the series, they decided to dump it all in the web series on Nickelodeon app, then dump the rest of the series on Nicktoons. And do you know nothing about Nickelodeon? Nicktoons, basically it's a channel, it's a dead sensitive to any other show that Nickelodeon doesn't want or owns. They just want to cancel right away. And that basically a channel that nobody actually watches. So that's why that was sort of infamous because how well known got screwed over by Nickelodeon. But lucky for us, this show became solo cult classic. Everybody loved this series because how kind of well made it really was. Now, the story of Making Friends, you focus on a character called Charlotte, who basically moved to a new town. She basically the new girl. But Charlotte is a very nice, proper little girl. I mean, she's very sweet and nice to everyone. She is basically an angel who walks on land and earth. And I'm not overhyping this character. She is that sweet. She can actually change everybody's demeanor on a second because how positive it really is. The point is, you could say it's something wrong with her, and that is probably the most interesting thing about the character because when she meets her older co-star, her basically enemy, her frenemy, her rival, be Vendetta. When you meet Vendetta, she is sort of the strong opposite of Charlotte. Vendetta is sort of a character was sort of hyped up the first episode. When Charlotte stepped in the first couple steps in the school, it tells you automatically how dangerous Vendetta really is. The people, how traumatized, how feared they fear about her own name. They hide, and that stuff is just so hyped up to when you finally meet how Vendetta and Charlotte meet, that you know she's that dangerous, how she talks, this sort of kind of squishy voice she has, and how easy control she has about the teacher. Even her teacher, parents, adults, the whole town is afraid of her. They don't know how to talk to her. It's just sort of frightened voice, and that itself is just so well built. You completely convinced how Vendetta is that cruel as a dictator till she makes Charlotte, because Charlotte is completely opposite. Charlotte is an angel that is sort of dumb, but not specifically just dumb. She's sort of naive, that she believes whatever you say, and you think, oh, she'll be easily manipulated by Vendetta because how cruel she really is. But honestly, no, Vendetta is just so pissed off, she just wanna kill her. And they use the word kill specifically because back in 2000 shows, they never really tried to say the word kill. They used deceased, passed away. They always avoid that. But this series only focus on dark humor, and they do that so well because you get confused about the animation, because the animation, how simple it is, how it feels like a 5-year-old did the drawings and color it, because the coloring kind of passed the line that you're supposed to color inside the the lines not outside, and that's what makes it super unique because your guard is sort of lowering down because you think it would be a very simple comedy, but no, the show is kind of sick and twisted. Yeah, I enjoy the both main characters, how kind of disturbed they are, but you really don't notice in the first. It's like the little things what built the characters so well, and you understand the characters so deep because they're simplistic but layered. For example, Vendetta is just so cruel, so monstrous. She shrank her own parents and put them in a small cage and feed them just a little bit just because how evil she really is. You think she is sort of one-dimensional character, but no, she is sort of complicated because she doesn't know how to react to Charlotte because how threatened she really feels. She doesn't know how to get rid of her. She attempted to kill her multiple times because Charlotte is sort of lucky. She's like really stupid lucky because everything she Vendetta trying to get rid of her, just end her life, she easily drops something by accident and just goes down and something hit her and she missed all the time. You think, well, that's basically a plot armor by the writers to make sure she never get injured or anything like that. But no, there is a difference of plot armor than actually is good writing. In this series, this sort of mini-series had great writing. Not all the time. I mean, it's like the show sort of still figuring out what to do, but that's the interesting part. The first season, the only season it has, they understood the chemistry and how each character kind of talk to each other. Even they try to build all the characters. I mean, they don't have a lot and they don't really focus on the side characters that much, except for maybe 3 characters, but very little, and they're trying to figure out how everything works. And something that it did have official one season and given multiple episodes, you could see how the show probably built so much, how the relationship, how it's sort of complex, how who hates who, how the relationship grows and blossoms, and that is very interesting because how they put out specifically Vendetta hates Charlotte so well. In fact, even her name Vendetta is basically vengeance with your next door neighbor, in other words, and that definition describes perfectly Vendetta, that she is the image of that definition. But a little bit more, they did the same thing to Charlotte because her name Charlotte is basically sweet, something like a cake, and that describes also very well Charlotte. And that I enjoy so much. Even the title of the whole show, Making Friends, is all about Vendetta and Charlotte trying to become friends. But specifically Charlotte, that she wants to be Vendetta's best friend, and Vendetta doesn't. This whole show was really well thought out. Every little instance you just realize how much timing and thought got into it. Even the side characters get time to understand what they're trying to do. For example, the teacher, Milk, that even the word milk describes the teacher, that he's sort of bland, stale, but you could also say he's sort of scared to become himself because what Vendetta did to him and everybody else around him, and you see him trying to become more better, but thanks to Charlotte, who gave him a little more confidence to be more himself, you could see an arc sort of developing because of that. And I think that's the saddest thing about this series, that they build a lot of side characters just a little bit, but you understand their arc. But unfortunately, the show ended before actually anything develops, in other words. Especially the other characters. That's another one. There was a kid called Martin, and he basically was sort of an assistant to Vendetta, and he was sort of a stepping stone that everybody's all walk around him, especially Vendetta. But you can see he could easily become the henchman of Vendetta if the show gave him more time to develop. But you see that episode, you see what I mean. He has something interesting. You also have another girl who is I don't remember her name, but she was basically the gothic chick that she sort of depressed, give poems, and you can see why she hates Charlotte, and not just her. Other side characters start to hate Charlotte also, but their own unique way, reasons, and that's why this makes it sort of fascinating. But they never went that deep because, once more, they only have a limit of 18 episodes, but the building blocks is there. Everything's just so set up. It's just a shame they did not give the show a chance to have its own following. Even sadder that Amy doesn't allow to buy her own project back, because when you sold your project, it's up to Nickelodeon. They want to sell the project back to the creator, and that's sort of sad because this series has so much potential. You can easily see this show can easily blow up or modify it to make it for more older audience because how dark it really is. Because this thing can easily blow up or overshadow SpongeBob, and that's the sad part. They have gold on their lap and they don't want it, and you just sort of confused what Nickelodeon do this sort of weird decisions, maybe because the show was too dark for them and don't realize, maybe that was a bad idea, maybe the reason why the show got canceled. It could be anything like that, but honestly that is sort of sad. This almost got forgotten. Lucky for the fans who did create fan art and talk this series how great it really is. Now, if you want to see this series, you can watch the whole series on YouTube. You have a total of 18 episodes, but you could binge watch them like an hour or 2 hours. It's not that long. You have a blast watching this series. Of course, the first couple episodes are a little trying to figure out what we are, but when they actually get to episode 4, everything just clicks. All of that's the only problem the series has. Now, I got one question. Do you remember this series? Did you actually watch it? How did you watch it? Because I only noticed this show came out in the website. Because I remember back in the day, I was looking at Nickelodeon and this show just popped out out of nowhere. You started watching it and fell in love with it, hoping for more of it, and it sort of disappeared. That's the only reason I actually knew this show actually exists. But once more, if you want to see it, you can watch it on YouTube completely free. Now, I keep really nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.